Several years ago, two gentlemen were arrested in front of the courthouse in Hempstead, Nassau County, Long Island, New York, for telling lawyer jokes while waiting online to go into court to help someone out, as I remember it. This made worldwide news while media and journalists all over the world begging for interviews. It was hilarious. Of course, it was a lawyer who would have arrested them, right? They were in fact legal reformers making a mockery out of frivolous lawsuits, and they get arrested. You can't make this stuff up. Today I have one half of the duo here to tell the story, and keeping it light, he'll tell us some of the jokes he was arrested for. Mr. Carl Lanzisera is here, the founder of Americans for Legal Reform. Hi, Carl.
Hi, Chris.
Now, this must have been an hysterical story.
Well,
can you, beyond the highlight film, tell us what happened?
We were in line to go to court. What we do, Americans for Legal Reform, we advocate court watching. When you go to court, never go alone. Oh, I got my lawyer. No, you don't have your lawyer. Bring friends with a pad and pencil to write what's going on in the courtroom. So we were there in court in Hempstead to court watch for some people. And it was so cold out, we saw a lawyer with his hands in his own pockets. So the lawyer in front of us said, "Shut up, I'm a lawyer." And then we really started telling jokes. And
unimpeded.
Unimpeded. We've had many years of practice. And after we walked into the courthouse, they spun us around and they put handcuffs on us. And I said, what is this about? He said, "You were making a loud noise." I said, if making a loud noise was arrestable, my wife would be in jail all the time. So they arrested us, and we had a little clipping in the newspaper. AP picked it up, and a couple of lines, and Ron Kuby and Curtis Lewa on a morning show mentioned it the following day. And the following day, there were 9 television trucks in front of my office. They wanted to interview us because it was so ridiculous. And
but funny.
Channel 12, in fact, called up and said, "Can we come down?" I says, "The entire day is taken. Well, how about if we come at 5 o'clock?" I said, "We're going bowling." So they hung up. They called back 5 minutes later. They said, "Where do you go bowling?" So they came to the bowling alley and they filmed us. They thought it was a publicity stunt. Ended up, there were 33, if you Google my name, lawyer jokes arrested, there are 33,000 hits, subjects all around the world. We did radio shows in Botswana, Australia, Germany. We did many television shows.
See, Carl, it's not just America that thinks this is all screwed up. They have lawyer jokes too. Well, they wanted to hear more of your jokes.
They were afraid the lawyers might come there, the American lawyers. Ron Kuby ended up defending us. They had a grand jury hearing.
Can you imagine that?
It probably cost the county $100,000. They had the top 2 district attorneys prosecuting us at the grand jury hearing. There were over 200 people there, television cameras, and where were you standing, what did you say, and all sorts of pictures. The district attorney lost, we believe, because of us, the money he spent and wasted on the program. They wanted to make a conviction of one of us to keep us away from the courthouse. We suggested that they put signs in front of the courthouse, joke-free zone.
Yeah.
At least people would know.
Sure, they would know. Hey, listen, I can't tell a joke on this line.
But we every opportunity there was, we had more jokes. We were sent jokes, and
it just went on forever.
It just went on. We were in the paper more than George Bush was for that period of time.
At that time, wow.
And we did stand-up comic shows. Unfortunately, my partner is ill, but it's good when you have 2, Amos and Andy. And
sure, and he was very good joke teller too. You both were good, yeah.
He would, we were
good
without
tandem.
we were good at it. But they just go on and on and on. You know, there really are no lawyer jokes. They're all true.
Yeah.
But there's 1,000 of them. If you Google, I Googled today, refresh my memory a little bit.
Yeah.
And
I like the one you did with, I forget who the lady was, I saw it on the air. What do you do when you have two lawyers with their sand up to their necks? Or what is, how does that go? I forget. What do you do when you have two lawyers with sand up to their neck? Well, a lawyer wants sand up his neck, not enough sand.
Oh, a lawyer up to his neck in sand.
Yeah, see, I didn't
not
say
enough
it right. See,
sand.
I'm not for joke telling.
Yeah, right. What do you call a bus load of lawyers going off a cliff and there were 2 empty seats? A shame.
Yeah.
You heard about the lawyer. You heard about the terrorist.
You guys can laugh. I see you laughing.
You need a little drum beat after. You heard about the terrorists that captured the plane full of lawyers and threatened to let one go if they didn't get their money?
No.
Every time they threatened to let one go, every time their demands weren't met. That's the reverse.
Better that way.
I got to explain it to you. What do you call
Every now and then I don't get it.
Yeah. What do you call 1,000 lawyers at the bottom of the ocean? A shame.
A shame.
You know, let me just look at my notes. Oh yeah, there's a sign on the back of a septic truck. Danger contains lawyer promises. What do you call it? A sewer truck?
Yeah.
What's the right? You heard they want to slaughter cows because the price of milk is too cheap, getting too cheap. There's too many cows. Why don't they slaughter a few lawyers, and this way there's too many of them.
Be a good idea.
What do you call a lawyer with 100 IQ?
What?
A judge.
Oh yeah, right.
What do you call a lawyer with a 50 IQ?
What?
A legislator. Yeah.
What else you got there on the fire list?
What's the difference between a sperm and a lawyer?
Wow, that's interesting. I don't know.
A sperm is a 1 in a million chance of becoming a human. What's the difference between a lawyer and a leech?
What?
A leech gives up when the client dies.
I see.
Well, what's the difference between a lawyer and a prostitute?
Go ahead.
The lawyer stops when the client dies.
Oh.
Where there's a will, there's a lawyer.
Okay.
What's the difference between a lawyer and God?
Wow, that's interesting. What?
God doesn't think he's a lawyer. There's heaven and hell.
Don't muffle your laughter back there. You might as well laugh. This is good.
Heaven and hell, I got to get the brains working.
Yeah, it takes a while sometimes.
Heaven and hell are separated by a hedge. And hell is a mess. There's garbage all over. The grass is growing. The weeds are growing. Hedge is a mess. Heaven, they keep it nice and neat. It's all trim. God hangs over the fence and he says, listen, will you clean up that mess over there? And the devil says, oh yeah, what are you going to do about it? God says, I'm going to sue you. He says, oh yeah? Where are you going to get a lawyer? A pope dies, goes to heaven. And St. Peter says, come on in, come on in. Let me take you to your abode. So he takes him around and he says, see that big building over there? That's lawyer Chris DiMaggio. See that big house over there? That's lawyer Andrew. See that big house over there? That's lawyer so-and-so. See that Pope? That little shack over there? That belongs to Pope number 25. That little shack over there belongs to... He says, how come all the lawyers have these big houses and the popes have little? He says, we don't have many lawyers up here. There's no lawyer. There's very few lawyers up here. Why do they bury lawyers 100 foot down and everyone else 6 foot? Down deep, they're nice people.
Oh, I see.
You know why we got arrested. I mean, it was just- how do you get a lawyer down from a tree? Cut the rope. How do lawyers sleep? They lie on one side, then they lie on the other side. How many lawyers does it take to change a light bulb?
Oh, that one I should know and I don't. What?
How many can you afford?
Oh, I see.
What do you throw a drowning lawyer?
Nothing.
A rock. Of course, how do you tell a lawyer's lying?
He's moving his lips.
His lips are moving.
That one
right?
I got.
What's the difference between a lawyer and a vulture?
What?
His wingtips.
That's an odd one.
What happens when you cross a blonde with a lawyer?
What?
There's some things a blonde won't do.
Yeah, right.
Why does New Jersey have the most garbage dumps and New York have the most lawyers?
Why?
New Jersey had first choice.
Oh, I see. These are good jokes, Carl.
Don't throw me off here now. What's the difference between a skunk on a highway and a lawyer, dead lawyer and a dead? The skid marks in front of the trunk.
Thank
the
you.
skunk.
You remembered me then.
Oh yeah, you saw the sign on the tombstone. It said "honest lawyer."
No.
The kid says, "How come there's two people buried over there?" Takes a minute.
Yeah, it does.
Of course, honest lawyer is an oxymoron.
Oh,
Like small shrimp,
I see.
big shrimp.
Honest lawyer, right?
Yeah, honest lawyer. Why do lawyers have to wear a tie?
Why?
Keep their foreskin from going over their head.
Oh.
An engineer, a priest, and a lawyer go see their friend who just died. So the priest puts $100 in a casket. He says, he was a real nice guy. I really loved him. And he sticks $100. The engineer, or whoever I said, says, he was a real nice guy, puts $100 in the coffin. I think he should have this. Lawyer says, he was a real nice guy, writes a check for $300, puts it in the coffin, takes the $200 out. My favorite, see if I could do it. Three men, their car broke down, they knock on the door of a farmer. A Jewish person, an Indian person, and a lawyer. Farmer says, there's no room in the house, you have to sleep in the barn. So they go in the barn. A few minutes later, the Jewish person knocks on the door. He says, I can't sleep in the barn. There's pigs in there, and it's against my religion. Farmer says, okay, you could stay in the house. A little while later, there's a knock on the door, and it's the Indian fella. He says, I can't sleep in the barn. There's cows in that barn. He says, okay, you can stay in the house. A little while later, there's a knock on the door. It's the pigs and the cows. Every time I go in a restaurant, I always ask, and Judy, of course, gets tired of my jokes, but do you serve lawyers? And the waitress always looks and says, of course. Can I have two well done, please?
Overdone. And these are like a whole selection of some of these jokes you didn't get a chance. You're just going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, my ex's two attorneys, one died recently of a rare debilitating disease. So I call his office every month and I say, is Elliot Epstein there? And she says, no, he's dead. And I say, I know it. I just love to hear you say it. And she slams the And of course, the other lawyer that she had is dying of cancer. So I sent him a pack of cigarettes every.
These are good, aren't they?
There's okay. This is if I could do this right now.
You're doing all right.
You got to
Carl.
practice. You got to practice with it. There's a plane. 3 people are in a plane: a priest, a lawyer, and a young boy. There's only one parachute, and the plane is going down. They only have a few minutes. So the priest says we should let the boy have the parachute. I lived a long time. And I think the kid deserves it. And the lawyer says, fuck the kid. Excuse me. The hell with the kid. F the kid. And the priest says, do we have time?
Oh, God. There's a twist.
That's about all I got.
That was great. That was good enough. Thanks. I appreciate that. You know, these jokes, I think, for a long time, I've been hearing some of them in the car. It's amazing how, you know, I don't keep track of them. You have a lot of them in your head. Every now and then, we're just at a dinner someplace or at a meeting, and all of a sudden he starts telling these jokes.
Somebody says something.
Yeah,
and,
it reminds you of something,
and it
and
reminds
then you go,
me
right?
of them. And you know, the reason we got arrested because they wanted to stop lawyer jokes. It's okay to have Polish jokes, religious jokes, you know, ethnic jokes, whatever. But they wanted to stop it.
I guess when you think about it, how many professions have jokes told about them? I'm not sure.
All professions,
Do they?
as
Yeah, I guess
but lawyers think they're above the law, and they're going to stop it. And I don't know if that T-shirt will get any recognition, but I wore that T-shirt recently down in Florida. I never had so many thumbs up about anything I've ever worn. People,
you know, isn't that sad when you think about it, that the profession, it's got a black mark on it.
well,
no matter how you cut it.
95% of the lawyers give the other 5% a bad name.
Right.
You have to think about that.
I know, I got that one. That was good, but I've heard it, unfortunately.
But, you know, as you say things.
Yeah.
But you would think that the profession would want to clean up their own act. They don't. How many people do you know have been robbed at gunpoint?
Not many.
Not many. How many people do you know have had trouble with lawyers?
Lots.
Everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. When we started our organization 30 years ago, maybe 5% of the people, we were considered wackos. But now everyone agrees
Right.
that the lawyer profession is out of control. The first 100 years in this country, lawyers weren't allowed in the courtroom. They were considered vermin. You know, and it's unfortunate because the good ones get stuck with this stigma, and it shouldn't be.
Wasn't Shakespeare the one that said that if
Kill all the
yeah,
lawyers.
if you had to start a country, the first thing you do is kill all the lawyers.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
you know, there's a certain amount of truth to what you're saying that everyone knows. It's like everybody knows how bad it can be. Everyone knows somebody who got ripped off for their whole entire lives, or they can't go forward another day because they were ripped off of all their assets. Yet we never think of.
I mean, Gulliver's Travels was about lawyers. 2 farmers get in a fight over the cow, and it ends up the lawyers, the barristers at that time,
yeah.
ended up with the 2 cows, and the farmers were broke. And that's what happens today. Houses are being taken away. The bankruptcy court is run by trustees, quote. I never met an honest trustee. Child Protective Services. Anytime you have to have a title that says Child Protective Service, you know it's corrupt.
Yeah.
Then just the definition. You don't need to say that if it's not true. And why is all this? We believe that lawyers, our forefathers knew that lawyers were problems. So they wrote into the Federalist Papers no one group shall control
That's right.
all branches of government.
That was the same hands clause, right?
Same hands.
Right.
And they said a religious group, a military group, an ethnic group. They never thought at that time of a profession. Otherwise, they would have listed. But they inferred no one group.
Absolutely.
Not hard to understand. But what has happened is the president was a lawyer, the vice president was a lawyer, 13 of the cabinet members were lawyers. The judiciary is 100% lawyers, and the legislators are between 45 and 65% lawyers.
And most people think they all are, but they're not. Yeah, but there's a great percentage.
Right
of them.
down to town
Right.
politics. Here in Huntington, Frank Petrone is not a lawyer, but he has 25 law firms on retainer. They have to keep these law firms full employment. The thing that is sneaking up on the lawyers is that now anyone could be a lawyer with a smartphone. You just put it in to your question into the smartphone,
You come up with an answer.
and you come up with an answer, and it's more accurate. The smartphone is 90% accurate. A lawyer is 70% accurate.
Is it that high?
Yeah, well, maybe an
Yeah.
expensive lawyer, and most people can't afford a lawyer. Why hire a lawyer? Don't hire a lawyer in the first place.
That's why we always say the structure inside the courtroom is what half the problem is. The intimidating nature of somebody at a higher location than you has got somehow some kind of wherewithal.
A judge
Yeah,
with a black
and
robe
you
and a
don't, and they pressure you into not saying too much and not saying the wrong thing or not
sign
talking
this.
to your client.
Sign this.
They force people into signing things they don't even understand because they feel completely pressurized by the situation.
And we all do it. We're trying to cooperate and
Well, they coerce you inside there. Do a sleight of hand. Listen, the judge is really pissed. You better sign this.
I mean,
What kind of,
if you
what kind
don't
of
sign
justice
it,
is that?
Yeah. If you don't sign it, the judge is going to come down harder. The judge didn't hear the facts yet. How is
Yeah.
he going to come down harder?
Right.
It's supposed to be blind justice. So we continue to vote for lawyers. Now, Kansas, their government, their legislator, was just announced has no lawyers. It's the first time ever. So one of these days, we have people that are part of Americans for Legal Reform for 25, 30 years, and they still vote for lawyers. It's
Yeah.
not about being a Democrat or Republican.
This issue is definitely not, but I don't think people put that together. All the ways that you just described it, if I had half a brain, I would say not only are you on target, I can relate to all those stories, so I wouldn't do it either. But when I went to the voting booth last time, I didn't contemplate that issue. I don't even know. I voted for the people I felt would be the best.
Right.
But
Right.
and I'm
I'm
a
not saying
reformer.
that just because you're a lawyer, shouldn't be in politics.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it's a predominance of lawyers, and lawyers only write laws to make more employment for
They
lawyers.
give themselves more power in some
If
way.
they could write a law that you and I could understand, they send it back, so it becomes complicated, and you need a judge to decipher how tall a fence should be.
Which is something we should do, by the way. We should really talk about plain language law.
Oh,
I mean, that would make a great deal of difference to the average person who's not a
Oh,
lawyer.
there is
It's in
law that
language.
says that. Any law that can't be understood is not a law. It's part of the Constitution.
Boy, that would stop a lot of bad
But-
law, a lot of bad decisions from going down because a lot of people don't understand the law.
Well, you take the
They like the more complicated they make it, the more confusing that it is,
The-
the more opportunity they have to get it.
the amendment,
they can get.
the first, it
First
says,
Amendment?
whatever, which one, it says you're allowed counsel of your choice,
Oh, yeah.
right? In
Yeah,
the
I don't know which one
Constitution,
it
you're
is,
allowed
yeah.
counsel of whatever the number is, but counsel of your choice. Now you go into court and they say, "Where's your lawyer?" I want counsel.
I want Fred over here to help
I
me
want
out.
my brother to
Yeah,
help me.
sure.
I want my mother to help me. I want a friend to help. No, you have to have a lawyer. Well, it doesn't say that in the Constitution. They took it and they switched it the other way.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, if you don't have a lawyer, whatever decision the judge makes is completely reversible. So you're better off without a lawyer. If you don't get a lawyer, we're gonna, do whatever you want. I ain't getting a lawyer.
Yeah, and then they coerce you into getting a lawyer if they see this is not proper protocol. They give you a million reasons why you have to stay out of it.
The reason I've done this for 30 years. My divorce was $500,000. 30 years ago, $500,000.
That was a lot more then.
In legal fees.
Yeah, sure.
That was a lot of money then.
Yeah.
And the lawyer knew I had a business and she had a house. So her lawyer, and they kept doing it. So unfortunately, he died.
I always say the amount of money you put on your forms, when you fill out an interrogatory, don't fill out what you have if you have more than $1.98 because you're going to be in trouble.
You're in trouble. They're going to take it.
That's right.
They end up with all the money at the end.
At your expense.
Unfortunately.
That's right.
I mean, and I could tell you 1,000 stories, more than jokes.
Carl, thank you very much. It was really entertaining, and you did a good job finishing that up. The jokes were fabulous. I know this audience we have here got to appreciate it as well. You've been watching Great Matters, a program that shines the light on the society we live in and the need for reform. Boy, that's a good example right there. We keep you up to speed with current news, events, current political and hot-button issues, and we will measure the path and the distance that gets us to where we are today. Great Matters is a consummate thought process. Stay tuned. We'll see you soon. Come back again next week.